Now more than ever, the left is doing everything in its power to push radical trans ideologies and the erasure of women on our kids and the rest of America. And of course, the Biden administration is leading the charge. Joe Biden's transgender assistant health secretary, Dr. Rachel Levine, has been pushing for kids to be able to change their genders. And while Levine is perfectly okay with children getting sex changes, Levine confesses that he's glad that he wasn't castrated until he was an adult.
I have no regrets, because if I transitioned when I was young, and I wouldn't have my children. I can't imagine a life without my children. And so every experience led me to here. And so how could I regret that?
Levine has made it his top mission to push radical ideas on America. And just last week, Levine visited Identity Alaska, a so-called gender clinic that calls for eliminating the words mother, woman, and female from K through 12 science classes. You wouldn't want little kids thinking that mothers are females after all. Levine praised the clinic, saying, quote, "These inspiring people work tirelessly to create a more equitable future where all those living in the U.S. have equal access to life-saving medical care." This same Biden-approved gender clinic teaches kindergartners, quote, gender-inclusive biology, which says that doctors assign genders to babies by guessing. The lesson also says that the word mother should never be used when talking about birth. Instead, you should say egg producer, carrier, or gestational parent. And that's what women and mothers are now reduced to by Joe Biden and the left, egg producers. And for that reason, they're even looking for ways to make sure that egg producers don't have to give birth anymore. The creepy people funding big science are more than happy to take the biological miracle of pregnancy away from women by creating artificial wombs through a process called ectogenesis. Once the baby is conceived, the woman in her womb would no longer be needed. The Children's Hospital of Philadelphia actually developed an artificial uterus which carried lamb fetuses to full term successfully. It's called the BioBag, and companies like Google are already pouring money into it for humans. Scientists across the globe are extremely close to having artificial wombs ready to go for humans. This would have major implications, not just for women, but also for babies. Babies' growth and well-being are directly impacted by the emotional and spiritual connection to their mother in the womb. But bizarrely, liberal media like Wired magazine seem to only care about what effect this technology will have on, get this, abortion rights. That's right. The central bioethics question for Wired magazine is how will this affect the abortion debate through viability, not the separation from mother and child in the most human and beautiful experience on earth, birth. And to further mock us, these evil transhumanists are now suggesting that taxpayers should pay $300,000 to get uterus transplants for transgender women to get help in getting pregnant. When will this madness end? Lila Rose is the Live Action founder and president. Welcome, Lila. I mean, this sounds like something right out of science fiction. We are on the road to it. It is going to happen. What concerns you the most in this issue?
I mean, it is a wholesale attack on what it means to be a woman, and women are under attack today. We are being deconstructed and attacked. Our very ability, our superpower to bring life into the world has been attacked for decades. Abortion is being celebrated as some sort of empowerment when it's the destruction of that superpower, bringing life into the world and our own children. And, you know, it's offensive, and quite frankly, most Americans agree it is totally ridiculous to reduce a woman, a mother, to an egg donor or to a gestational unit of some kind. This is a human being, a woman that has that unique power, which should be celebrated and protected, not attacked. And the fact that one of our highest ranking government officials, a man who is masquerading as a woman, is doing this to now attack all biological women by saying we can't even call them mothers anymore, the ones that are, is absolutely ridiculous. And everybody should be offended and upset about this. And it should not be tolerated tolerated this sort of attack on women, especially coming from government officials.
Yeah, if anyone sends me a happy egg producer day card, I'm going to slap them in the face, even if it's my kids. So let's talk about this pod that they're now creating, these artificial wombs that I guess are going to displace women as well. I'm kind of thinking there's a lot of good corporate interest in this. I mean, you can get women, you don't only have to give maternity leave. A lot of profit making can be made from removing women from the child birthing experience altogether.
I mean, listen, just because science may be able to do something doesn't mean it is good for it to do it. You know, nuclear weaponry is something that has to be used very carefully, if used at all. I mean, there has to be ethics to control how we use any sort of technological developments. Similarly with, you know, artificial womb, babies belong with their mothers. They need to be nourished biologically by their mothers. To sever that deep connection, that spiritual and physical connection, as you said earlier, Rachel, is an attack on motherhood and the child. So yes, we should be looking very carefully and hesitantly at an artificial womb, and instead celebrate the actual wombs of mothers and do everything we can to improve bonding between mothers and their children instead of separating them.
Absolutely. Well, it's a very interesting question. Odd that Wired magazine would be thinking about abortion rights as we really have to discuss very deeply the bioethics of this and the implications for the human race, frankly. Lila, always great to have you on the show. Thank you for your thoughts.
Thanks, Rachel.
God bless.